Among the army of the gods, several warriors always stood out for their power levels. We have seen specters, marinas, angels, and knights demonstrating unbelievably incredible powers. But do you know who would be the most powerful warrior of each divine army? Hello, Knights of Amazonas. Welcome to the Sempre Quiz Saber channel. I'm Wes, and in today's video, I bring you the 12 most powerful warriors of the gods and knights of the Zodiac. Did you like the topic? Comment which warrior you think is the strongest in each army. Also, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's start this awesome video. Number 1, Athena's army. To start our list off right, we need to talk about the goddess who protects the earth. Athena's army is made up of 88 knights based on the celestial constellations, divided among the ranks of bronze, silver, and gold. Although the sanctuary holds legends like Shaka of Virgo and Saga of Gemini, the events of the story point to a single man as the absolute pinnacle of this army. And that is Seiya of Sagittarius. Seiya began his journey as the Bronze Knight of Pegasus, being trained by Marin of Eagle at the sanctuary in Greece itself. His ability to create miracles, due to his skill in raising his cosmo to infinity, placed him on a level that challenges the gods. According to the chronology shown in the spin-off sequels, such as the episode of Requiem and Omega sagas, he inherited the legendary Sagittarius gold armor, becoming the central pillar of Earth's defense and the supreme knight of Athena's terrestrial forces. And as we know in the classic saga, he not only awakened the 7th and 8th senses, but was also able to transform and engage a divine armor in the Battle of Elysium, being the first human in millennia to injure the real body of the god Hades, as well as the first Pegasus in the mythological era. Seiya is the living definition of human overcoming against divine power, achieving impossible victories against gods like Poseidon, Thanatos, Abel, and Eris. Number 2, the army of Hades. Hades, the emperor of the underworld, commands a dark force made up of 108 specters, whose souls are awakened by evil stars. Among all this infernal order, the 3 warriors who stand at the top are the judges of the underworld, and among them, the one who stands out the most for his brutality, resilience, and brute strength is Radamanthys of Wyvern, the celestial star of fury. Radamanthys is a monster in combat. Wearing his surplice, which is the dark armor of the underworld, he has a resistance that defies human logic. In the famous invasion of the sanctuary, taking advantage of the barrier that reduces the power of the knights in Hades' castle, he easily defeated big names from the sanctuary like Mu of Aries, Iolia of Leo, and Milo of Scorpio, sending all 3 directly to the underworld. But even on neutral ground, and without the help of protective barriers, his ultimate attack, Greatest Caution, showed devastating power, capable of pulverizing the surrounding environment. His loyalty to Hades and Pandora is blind and absolute, making him fight until his last breath, even with his body completely destroyed, as happened in his battle against Kanon of Gemini. Number 3, Poseidon's army. The Emperor of the Seas, Poseidon, is supported by his 7 marina generals, elite warriors tasked with protecting the gigantic pillars that support the world's oceans. Their armors are called scales, forged from the legendary metal orichalcum. Theoretically, the strongest warrior should be someone purely chosen by the ocean, but the man who took the position of the most dangerous general was a human intruder, Kanon of Sea Dragon. Kanon, twin brother of Saga of Gemini, was locked in the prison of Cape Sunion because of his terrible malice. In there, he ended up finding Poseidon's trident and released the soul of the god, which had been sealed for centuries in Athena's amphora. Manipulating the god, who was still awakening in the body of the young Julian Solo, Kanon put on the Sea Dragon scale and took command of Poseidon's entire army, with overwhelming techniques, such as the Golden Triangle, which is a variation of the Another Dimension technique that banishes enemies into space. And the classic Galaxian explosion, its destructive power is perfectly equivalent to that of his brother Saga, which easily makes him the most devastating and strategic marina general in the history of the Kingdom of the Seas. Number 4, Odin's army. In the frozen lands of Asgard, the supreme god of Norse mythology, Odin, manifests his will through a human representative on Earth, who in turn leads the 7 god warriors. Each of these warriors is protected by a sacred robe, corresponding to one of the stars of the Ursa Major constellation. The undisputed leader and the most powerful of this entire Scandinavian lineage is Siegfried of Duba, the Alpha Star. Siegfried is a direct descendant of the mythological hero of the same name, who became famous for defeating the legendary evil dragon Fafnir By bathing in the dragon's blood, Siegfried's ancestor gained complete physical invulnerability, a trait that was genetically inherited by the god warrior. Just like in the original myth, there is a weak spot in his heart. During the bloodbath, a tree leaf fell on the hero's back, leaving that small area unprotected during attacks. In terms of raw power, Siegfried humiliated almost all of the classic Bronze Knights at once. His Odin sword strikes and Dragon's Gale were considered completely unstoppable. He was only defeated when Seiya, aided by Dragon Shiryu's Cosmo, managed to detect the split second when Siegfried lowered his guard to strike, revealing the weak spot on his chest. Upon discovering that his people and the ruler Hilda of Polaris were being manipulated by the god Poseidon through the Nibelung Ring, Siegfried tore out his own Odin Sapphire, and he sacrificed his life by ascending to the heavens in an attempt to defeat the Marina general, Siren Sorrento. Number 5. The Army of Artemis. In the canonical saga Next Dimension, which serves as the official and direct continuation of the original story created by Masami Kurumada, we are officially introduced to the army of the goddess of the moon in the hunt, Artemis. And her ground forces are made up of the satellites, a relentless guard of female warriors and sacred archers. At the very top of this military hierarchy, acting as the commander-in-chief of the lunar forces, is the imposing Callisto. Callisto is the high commander and Artemis's closest advisor in the Temple of the Moon. She has such extreme devotion to her goddess that she is capable of taking drastic actions behind her lady's back to ensure the safety and status of the deity before Olympus. She is the one who commands fearsome warriors like Lascamone, the leader of the satellite assault forces. And she is also the one who makes the decision to temporarily release the fallen celestial warrior, Toma, Angel of Sleep, to carry out the mission of assassinating Seiya in the sanctuary. Her power within the Army of the Moon makes her the most influential and dangerous figure below the goddess Artemis herself. Number 6. The Army of Apollo, the sun god and brother of Artemis, has one of the smallest and most intimidating armies in the entire Masami Kurumada franchise. His elite warriors are known by the title of celestial angels, humans or demigods who have been chosen to receive the privilege of wearing the glories, the armors of the kingdom of heaven. These are just 4 angels who were shown in the Next Dimension saga, and the warrior who stands out among them for his relentless pursuit of divine power is Toma, the Angel of Sleep. Toma has one of the most dramatic and melancholic stories in the entire Saint Seiya universe. He is, in fact, the long-lost brother of Marin of Eagle, having been separated from his sister in childhood when he was recruited by the gods. Toma developed an obsessive desire to become strong, believing that the only way to protect himself and find peace would be to reach the level of the gods themselves. However, at some point, Toma rebelled against the gods and was punished, being expelled from Apollo's army and becoming a prisoner of the Temple of the Moon. Number 7. The Army of Eris. The goddess of discord, Eris, has the evil power to sow chaos, destruction, and resurrect dead warriors who held grudges in life. From history or from Athena's own sanctuary, these warriors, revived through the power of the Golden Apple, are named the Ghost Knights. In the first classic movie of the franchise, Eris brought back to life the one whom the historical records of the sanctuary's foundation pointed to as the greatest warrior of his era, Jaga of Orion. According to the official information from the universe of the series, Jaga did not originally belong to the rank of the Gold Knights, but his power as a Silver Knight was so absurdly high that it easily surpassed the level of many knights of his time. He accepted Eris's offer because he felt a deep bitterness, believing that the world and future generations had completely forgotten his sacrifice, his worth, and his glories in the name of Athena. His main attack, the Megatomic Meteor Shock, works as an extremely concentrated, fast, and violent version of the traditional Seiya's meteor, generating a massive impact pressure that pulverized the protagonist's defenses with extreme ease, requiring heroic effort to be overcome. Number 8. Abel's Army. In the iconic movie The Legend of the Defenders of Athena, the sun god Phoebus, Abel, who is Athena's brother and Zeus's son, returns from the world of the dead, accompanied by his elite personal guard, the 3 Solar Crown Knights. These warriors do not wear armors based on the normal sanctuary ranks, such as bronze, silver, or gold, but instead wear outfits blessed by the very heat and energy of the sun's core. The absolute leader and most destructive of this trio is Atlas of Carina. Atlas simply has unstoppable strength and was part of one of the greatest displays of power, when he, along with Berengue and Zhao, instantly defeated the Gold Saints, Urachura and Camus. His devastating technique, known as the Crown of Fire, is capable of burning his opponent's bodies from the inside out, as well as creating a solar plasma barrier around his own body, which makes him completely immune to physical and spiritual attacks. Despite being opponents, with this, he completely destroyed the armors of Seiya, Shiryu, and Hyoga, Shun-Yoga Shimunhiki, without suffering a single scratch on his body. To defeat him, Seiya and his friends had to wear 3 gold cloths at the same time: Sagittarius, Libra, and Aquarius, in order to overcome his power. Number 9, the Army of Mars. In the 21st century, as presented in Saint Seiya Omega, the universe of the franchise expanded to introduce new deities. The first major antagonist of this new generation is Mars, the god of war. The Army of Mars managed to successfully infiltrate Athena's own sanctuary, establishing a new corrupt order of gold saints. The most dangerous, sadistic, and absurd of all these warriors was Amor of Pisces. Amor is not an ordinary Pisces saint focused only on poisonous roses. He is the biological brother of Medea, the powerful sorceress who manipulated Mars in the events of this saga behind the scenes of the sanctuary. Due to this dark lineage, Amor possesses a rare and dual mastery over Cosmo. He masterfully controls the water element and, in a much more terrifying way, the element of pure darkness. He demonstrated his level of power by coldly assassinating the gold Saint Messenias of Leo with a single movement of his fingers. In addition, Amor is able to summon the spirits of the 4 heavenly kings of Mars to fight by his side in the combat arena, turning any battle into an unfair massacre. Number 10. The Army of Pallas. Still within the chronology of the events of Saint Seiya Omega, the second season of the series introduces us to the goddess of tragedy and love, Pallas, who has a long-standing blood feud with her sister Athena. Pallas's soldiers are known in battle as Pallasites, and their high-tech cosmic armors are called chronotectors, suits capable of manipulating their opponent's time. The absolute elite of this army is made up of the first-class Pallasites, and the warrior who stands out above all of them for his nobility and strength is Titan of the Sword of Creation. Titan's chronotector, named Genesis Tector, does not represent a constellation, but rather the power and fusion of 3 zodiac signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. He wielded the legendary sword known as the Sword of Creation. What makes Titan the most fascinating and formidable warrior of this entire arc is his profound emotional evolution throughout the episodes. Initially, he serves Pallas out of pure obligation, but when he sees the goddess suffering from loneliness, he develops genuine and protective love for her. At the climax of the saga, Titan decides to fight to protect Pallas's smile and her life. He faces Sagittarius Seiya in hand-to-hand combat, where the clash of their Cosmo nearly collapsed the entire physical structure of the temporal palace. Number 11. Saturn's Army. Behind all the scenes of the Palace War, the true architect of all the destruction of the Omega era was hidden. Saturn, the god of time, and the lord of all cosmic eras. The first-class Pallasites were actually the 4 great generals loyal to Saturn. While Titan chose the path of love to protect Pallas, the most ruthless general, monstrously strong and loyal to Saturn's cause of destruction, was Hyperion of the Sword of Destruction. Hyperion wears the formidable Destruction Tector, a heavy armor that condenses and amplifies the cosmic power of 3 destructive zodiac signs: Aries, Taurus, and Leo. He wielded the sacred sword, known as the Sword of Destruction, a mystical weapon capable of cutting through time itself, slicing space, and creating dimensional rifts that suck the life energy from nearby enemies. Hyperion's level of power and endurance is so outrageous that it took 3 veteran gold saints, Shiryu of Libra, Kiki of Aries, and Fudu of Virgo, to perform the ultimate forbidden technique of the sanctuary, the Athena exclamation, just to shatter his sacred sword. And even without his main weapon, Hyperion survived the cataclysmic explosion, and he kept fighting against the young bronze saints, demanding that they awaken the highest level of Cosmo, the power of the macrocosm, known as Omega, to finally be defeated in battle. Number 12, Loki's Army. To close our list with a golden key, let's go to the events of the spin-off Soul of Gold, focused entirely on the 12 gold saints mysteriously resurrected in the lands of Asgard. There we discovered that the god of malice, Loki, was using the sacred tree Yggdrasil to drain the Earth's life energy. Loki chose 7 new god warriors to defend him, and the most frightening, mystical, and untouchable of this whole group was Balder of Heron's Velgri. Balder proudly carries the honorary title of the Invincible God Warrior. Since his humble childhood in the cold lands of Asgard, he suffered from extreme weakness of his body, until one day he heard a divine voice, which he later discovered was actually Loki himself in disguise, who granted him an unbelievable blessing: a completely immortal body that would never feel pain, fatigue, or suffer any kind of injury from mortal weapons. Because of this condition, Balder came to be worshipped as a living deity throughout his homeland. In the decisive battle inside the secret chambers of Yggdrasil, Balder faced none other than Shaka of Virgo. The fight was a true clash of philosophies and gods. Balder's invulnerability completely nullified all of Shaka's conventional physical and energy attacks. The Virgo Gold Saint was only able to win the fight by resorting to the metaphysical technique of the Treasure of Heaven, which not only attacks the physical body, but also directly removes the opponent's 5 senses and mind. By breaking the technique, Shaka revealed to Balder that his supposed divine blessing was actually a terrible curse from Loki that had dried up his human empathy. In the end, demonstrating the compassion of a true Buddha, Shaka used his Cosmo to ease Balder's accumulated pain before his inevitable death. Did you enjoy learning about the 12 most powerful warriors in the gods' armies and knights of the Zodiac? Leave a comment to let me know, and thanks for watching until the end. See you next time. Burn your cosmos to infinity.